Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank y'all so much for stopping by again today. I appreciate it, guys. Shout out to the NTZ crew. What's up, Michael Beach of Life? I see you on here. I know Jacob Tanjay's on here. There he is. Thank y'all so much, man, for all y'all do for the channel. All my fourth quarter members. What's up, Jeff Retaliate? He says, yeah, 60.05 exchange rate. I just saw that, man. Beautiful. What's up, Q? I see you on here. Raymond, yeah, Roger Walker. Thank y'all, man. Swiss Gear, I appreciate that, man. A guy told me, he said, I'll always acknowledge your fourth quarter members, man, no matter how many it is when they're on here. Andrew Sharp, Sheldon, Kamal, what's up? All my old heads, there's life without limits. Doubt with Genius is probably on here. Any new viewers and subscribers, you know it's been a lot over the last few months. They've taken off the shackles from Sunshine's shoulders. I'm running free now, man. They better be careful. But welcome, and anybody catching this on replay, the peso is 60.05, man. Like, what in the world? It was 59.40 or something this morning before I went on my walk. But now that the foolishness has started back up Friday, right before the markets crash, he says, yeah, we got them. We've got an agreement. This is crazy, man, that the market would be falling for this. But somebody, see, they're starting to investigate this stuff now. A group of investors bet $700 million that the price of oil was going to go down right before Trump makes this announcement Friday, guys. It's going to all fall eventually. And they made a tremendous amount of money because it did fall down. What's up, Eric Terry? Said 14 days left. I know you can't wait to get up back over here. Time flies, man. Remember, we met you up in the last time you were on vacation here. But we always have a topic. He said, thinking about walking away from it all, you're not alone, guys. If you're watching this right now, you've thought about it more than once. And some people call it a escape fantasy. Some people call it a midlife crisis. Some people call it a existential crisis. Whatever it is, it's all the same. But I do want to talk a little bit about some more stuff. Now remember, this is your live stream. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. But I see, I made a post on my Facebook today that American men are becoming extremely weak, guys. You see where the former lieutenant governor kills his wife, then kills herself. Then kills himself, rather. Well, you might as well say herself, because he's acting like a bitch. Get it together and move on, man. We don't own these women. And then you see, I wake up this morning and some cocksucker, some old weak-ass man, over another domestic situation, that killed 8 kids, ages 1 to 14. Man, what's going on in America for real? Or has it always been like that? Thank you, Philly boy, for that super chat. I'm back in the gym, sir. Any tips on how to start? Yeah, just get started, man. Put one foot in front of the other. Remember, what's the Chinese proverb? 1,000-mile journey begins at one step. You've already made the first step. Just get in there, man. Make sure you stretch. Don't try to make up for lost time in one day. Because today will be our first time back in about 12 days. Maryland about to went crazy. But yeah, just get in there, man, and, take it easy, man. But make sure you stretch before and after. And each day do a little bit more. Hey, Anthony, thanks for that super chat. He said, what's up, Sunshine Shows and Sunshine Shows community? Finally caught a live stream. Let's get started. Thank you, brother. Looks like we got another fourth quarter member. Let's get that. Jamal, what's up? Thank you, brother. I know you a Thailand man. And no, DR. Welcome to the fourth quarter. Thank you for your support. Juice, what's up? He said, big bro, Cal, American life is stressing weak-ass ninjas out, and they're deleting people in themselves. It's crazy over here. Yeah, I thought I'd start right here because it's a lot of just unnecessary violence. Okay? Because remember something, a simp, a Joe, a John, and an Alpha are the same men depending on the circumstances. Okay? Everybody has fallen for some woman. Okay? But violence is never the answer, man. That's weak to me. That's weak, man. I mean, it's just a shame, man. Now those kids, now imagine he did it with his children, teenage children in the house. How can you recover from that? The teenage son calls 911. He sees his mother. He thought the father had stabbed her. No, he shot her. Sorry, bastard. I don't get it, man. Guy was successful at one time. But because of his failed bid for governor, and of course his fall from grace, they said, he was accused, which I don't know anything about that situation, being accused of sexual assault and all that. It destroyed his political career. Okay, then do something else. You college educated. You well connected. But yeah, that's enough for that. But I do want to talk about the video I made about, 30% of Americans will never retire. Okay, this is what y'all fail to realize when you talk about America's the greatest country in the world. And yet you got people, it's not unusual for people 80 years old and over to still be working. Not because they're trying to find purpose in their life. Not because it's a choice, okay, it's a necessity. They have to. For some reason, we got a system over there that's starting to lean toward the billionaires and the oligarchs. We find money for war and all that stuff, but we can't find money to make life easier for our seniors whose shoulders we stand on, by the way, in their golden years. These people will literally die on the job. Yeah, Kamal, he said, pray for all the victims. D-Sack, thanks for that super chat. He said, put some respect on the ninjas named Sunshine Shoulders. I love that song, man. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. He said they tried to flip the script at the end of the video. Ain't no amount of purpose in the world. I need to be working for a living at 85. Exactly. And then I felt so bad for the brother, man. He's 82, college education, mathematician, by the way. At one time he had it going on, man. But the stock market crashed. He made some decisions, sold all his stock. This guy, at the end of the day, he's inflating these compression bags around his legs, man. It's sad, guys. It's sad. Hey, Travis was here at 1980. Thanks for the membership, brother. Welcome to the fourth quarter. I'm going to have a members only live stream in the morning. He said, Me Too took Lieutenant Governor Fairfax out of the governor consideration back in 2019, just as he was ascending to it. Then his wife was divorcing him. Ooh, snap. Yeah. Man, you got to pick up the pieces, guys. If you're on here right now and you're going through something, and the true definition of a real human being, man, is just, you don't got to suck it up, man. Talk to somebody. See, we carry that shit around with us, thinking that, that's weak for a man to cry. We always want to be perfect. You see it. Go in the comments of any of my videos, any video on YouTube, or any post on Facebook, and you got all these perfect people over here. Everybody goes through something, guys, but, go through it. Feel what you got to feel, man, but make it to the other side. Live to see another day. We don't know what's on the other side of death, man. Shakespeare said it best. What little we know about death, life should be a paradise. Man, I'm getting ready to make a video, man. My 60s have been a blast, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm having so much fun in my 60s. No one ever even told me my life would be this good at 60. I'm thinking when you get 60, you're over the hill. He said, I joined the 8,000 mile club. The flight was brutal. When is the next meet and greet so I can prepare for it? I'm going to try to have one at the end of this month, certainly the first week of May, because it's Marilyn's birthday. Probably for Marilyn's birthday, the first week of May. He said, that was so sad. Unfortunately, U.S. treats elderly like dirt. Yeah, did you watch the video, man? I mean, these people are working because they have to. But at the same time, they don't want to make any sacrifices, see? He used up all his 401k to keep his house and his lifestyle and his possessions. See, we're materialistic over there. I even looked that up. Like, how did we become so materialistic? They were talking about the post-World War II economic growth. America blew up, man. Then aggressive advertising, man. They want your money. They created this culture that says personal worth, success, and happiness depends on you owning luxury goods and shit. So owning possessions is proof that you've made it. That's bullshit. We'll hold on to that shit till we die. Most of us go broke. How many people you know that own these big fancy cars and renting apartments are living in the projects? He said the biggest problem is nobody want to hear it. Yeah. Man, this video is a trip, man. Because it's talking about older adults in the workforce over in America. Did y'all know that 1 in 5 people 65 and over are still working, are looking for work in America? That's crazy, man, to me when I think about that. And not because they have to. They said half of those people are doing it because they have to pay the bills. They don't have enough money to retire. They said it's the highest number in years, in decades rather. That's coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, not me. I'm not making this shit up. And then they said that the number of people 75 and over, will increase by in the workforce, will increase by 96.5% by 2030. And when you read that, you think, 2030? Hell, it's 2026. What's up, Rashad? He said, honestly, it's why more men are chancing it and going abroad. Inflation is doing a number on our elderly population. Unc, I know your family misses you, but it's better you in Southeast Asia than a pan box. And not only that, but I was looking at a young woman who made a video yesterday. It was deep too. Because she was saying that the homesickness had kicked in. And she was like, maybe I can live in America again. Maybe I need to go home and be around my family. She said she wasn't there 24 hours and she knew right away, it's over. I'm going to have to find some kind of way to communicate with my family. But see, I didn't move here, Rashard, until I was 55. I left enough love and memories there that last them a lifetime, man. I was 55 when I moved. I wasn't 25. Okay, sometimes you gotta be selfish, man. Okay. He said, Cal, what do you think is missing from guys' lives the most? Money, purpose, sex, spirituality. I just don't think we understand. We've never really gotten the true definition of what a man is. There's so many definitions out there. Okay, that's one thing that I think, most of us, we think that, violence and is the way, being tough is what makes you a man. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 minute. No matter what message you're getting at home. I learned this from a friend of mine. He said, no matter what good message you're getting at home, that negative message that you get out in society is so much louder. You can be getting good home training, man, but that shit out there in the streets, I'm perfect example of that. Man, my mother was well cultured, of good character. I come from a good family, man, but the streets was a whole lot more influential on my life once I reached a certain age. But that's a good question, man. I don't have the answer to that. But I do know something's broke, brother. Hey, SD for help. Thanks for that super chat. He said, blessings to you, brothers. Men need to prepare now. Jobs are gone. AI is assuming 40% of the roles in my company this year. Wow. He said, this quarter, I'll be laying off 30 of 94 employees. Also, thanks for your collaborating with Mad Matt. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I saw Mad Matt. And I knew who he was right away, but the world is so small, man. I had no idea. But that's why I tell you, when guys try to have these beefs with each other, because he thinks a lot like me. He was like, I think it's silly. I think it's stupid over here. He says, I'm not going to mess up my life over here, fighting one of these vloggers. But, they talk all this talk. The Philippines is small, man. You're going to eventually see them. I saw a guy one time, I think his name was Tour Jacket. Yeah, he may be watching now. I was in Seattle, a coffee shop in Ayala one time. Me, James Mack, his wife, and Marilyn, we eat that breakfast. And some guy walks in. And he says, hey, such and show, how you doing, blah, 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 blah. He said, I'm Tour Jacket. And I was like, oh, you are, huh? Because he talks 24 karat crazy. But now he's sitting there right in front of me. He might weigh $110. He's a good guy, though, but I'm saying he talks 10 karat crazy he used to in my comments till he's standing 5 feet from me. And now his whole attitude done changed. It's like he showed me who he really is. He's just a real good guy, but it's too small, guys. But Mad Mac he's a good guy, man. I try to help people in the new vloggers because somebody helped me. He said, with the high cost of living, you would probably be a part of that 95% if you go back. No way you would be retired. You would have to do a live stream twice a day. You're right. But, Q, I already knew this in my mind a long time ago. Long before I saw that video, that I wasn't going to work until I died. I was going to retire at a decent age where I could enjoy it. And that's what I've done, but I made some sacrifices. And we don't want to make sacrifices. I don't have, look at that TV screen back there. You don't think I could have a bigger screen TV? It defeats the purpose, though. Me and Matt was talking about that. Why come over here and spend all that money? You're in the Philippines. This isn't a materialistic society. When people come into my house, they're not looking around to see, how many computers I got and all that stuff. Like I said, there's no silly Posturepedic mattress. My bed here that I've had for 4 years. I'm not being cheap. I'm not being frugal, guys. I'm just saying, if it ain't broke, don't break it. It just doesn't make sense, man. That is what I bought right there that cost me $500. And that was on sale. A Carrier split aircon unit. Everything else don't even come nowhere near $500. Because I want to stay retired, man. No, I got an article I'm going to send you, Q. Message me any way that you can. I'm going to send you an article about all you guys are talking about this AI. Because this guy breaks it down. He says AI is as big of a scam as cryptocurrency was. Okay, he said he's not worried about getting left behind by AI. And I know the guy just said 40% of his employees. They'll find something else. They'll live to see another day. But it's not going to be the end all that you and other people make it out to be. I'm not shaking in my boots, Q. I'm not afraid of that day because, see, I enjoy right now. I'm grateful to be alive right now. That's all. Because the only thing that the future offers me is death. That's all it offers you. So you can rush to the future if you want. All this guarantee is death. I'm slow walking, man. I'm slow walking. I'm not worried about, because I got a daughter, man. She's 30, beautiful, very intelligent. But she's always talking about, I should be further along in life. I look at a lot of my classmates that I graduated with, and they farther along. I said, no, you better live your own life. Okay? Remember, you can't hit a bullseye watching another man's target. And we get hung up on that. Raymond says the average life expectancy is 76 for a male. Yeah, a white male. You better read that again. For a black man, it's about 71. And 81 for American female. I would not want to die on the job and never experiencing anything. I just don't think that the education system that we have over there is good enough. It doesn't teach the right topics. A lot of the stuff that they teach is propaganda, man. All that geography and social studies and all that, that's propaganda. Math, science, English, but the rest of that shit is propaganda, guys. And you don't learn anything. They don't teach you about budgeting and all that stuff in school. And then y'all say, well, you're supposed to learn at home. Well, how can I learn it from my mother who never learned it? He said, we've been sold dreams, the American dream, and a twisted definition of what a man is, how we should live, act, and participate in the society. By the time you realize it's damn near too late, i.e. the midlife crisis. And that's another thing about being 60, man. I've got just as much knowledge now as a college graduate. And I never went to college but one semester. Things start making sense to you if you're not afraid to think for yourself. I threw away all them old teachings and all the old fake teachings that my mother gave me years ago, man. I wasn't afraid to do it. He said, Uncle over there, no, sleeping on bales of hay. No, I'm not. It's just that I'm in the Philippines and I don't have to, this isn't a materialistic society. This is what you have to understand. This is why a lot of guys go broke over here. Remember, we're our biggest problem over here. You coming from a dollar society, a consumerism-driven society. You want the biggest, best thing. You keeping up with the Joneses and you still do it. Building these big ass houses over here for what? The guy was in the comments, made a great comment. He said, Cal, I don't know why these older guys think that they have to come over there, get married, have a family, build a house, and all that other stuff as if they're in America. And it's exactly what they do. And it's their life. They can do it if they want to. But when I made the video that men are avoiding the Philippines because of this, I didn't say don't get married. So Smooth Tyrone is out there making videos saying, oh, I said don't get married. No. And then I saw another guy, both of these are black guys, like, get off my dick. Create your own goddamn content. He tried to get slick and say, oh, I saw a video the other day. No, he didn't say a video. He said somebody was in his comments. Because he said, be careful who you listen to in the Philippines. So he said, oh, guy was in my comments. I called him a young man. He said, don't get married. Don't have a living. Don't have children. Fool, you know that you're talking about my video. I never said that. I'm talking about it can be a trap for certain men when they come over here. You guys are caught up and don't even know it. You're in denial. Okay? But by the time, do you think the rat even realized what hit him when that damn trap snaps his damn neck? And this is what it is with you guys. You're in denial. He said, thankfully, I retired at 37. 3 years later, I'm working on building a second pension. Once I reach my number, I will sell everything. I use real estate to generate income and relocate overseas. Well, it's good that you got a plan, man, because most of us don't got a plan. Well, a lot of them people over there having a job isn't a choice anymore. It's a necessity. I'd be damned if I'm going to be 70 years old putting square pegs in the square holes on that concrete floor down at the factory. I'm not going to die on the job. The average Social Security, they're saying, is $2,071 a month. That's if you had a decent job. Most of the people aren't getting anywhere near that for real. You're talking about the highest of the high. I think they're talking about putting a limit of $5,000 or something. I don't know if it's on there right now, Social Security. And I don't know why they're doing that. They should put a limit on the amount of money we spending on these damn wars. Okay? But anyway, and then the average cost of the basic needs over there, housing, food, healthcare, is $26.23. The math ain't mathing. Okay? He said, facts, Cal. I don't care about material stuff as long as I continue to see them dead presidents in my 401k. Well, he says he's talking about a number, and I honestly believe you'll never have a number. I believe we'll never have enough. And that's what keeps people going. But you don't need all that fancy stuff over here. I could wear a shirt 3 times in a row. No one cares over here, man. I'm sure that some people have been influenced by the social media stuff, but not the masses, guys. He said AI is grossly overrated, supposedly the most powerful, yet Americans fear more than most. Yeah, and see, here's the thing, though. Without energy, AI is nothing. Let this global economy keep going. You see that there's a crisis going on in the AI industry right now. Let this war keep going on. Let it go on. Imagine if this thing goes on like Iraq or Afghanistan. Okay, this is why the guy was saying, guys, y'all need to be prepared. Start preparing now. He said it in the comments there. But we're not, because we take it for granted, it's going to be over with. No. The shit might keep going, man. Because Iran is one of the 3 nations where the people will fight to the last man. America's 250 years old with that old crazy ass thinking. 250 years old. Iran's been around for 6,000 years. But y'all don't think that matters. Yeah, it matters. You see what done happened so far? Yeah, we can blow their infrastructure away, but you still ain't winning. He said, I work in tech, and I will tell you AI is a real threat. It is not overhyped. In fact, they are really not telling the public the truth. They are planning to replace most labor. Well, I'm not afraid of that day. It won't happen in my lifetime, the go-getter. And I understand that. I'm not going to lie and make it seem like I know so much about it. I'm just letting you know there's no sense in you sitting around waiting on that day and shivering about it. You know, it's not there yet. They're not going to be able to replace the human mind. That's why it's called artificial intelligence. We're putting too much faith in that. They're doing all kind of shit. I would rather have AI take over than these damn wars that we're fighting that no one seems to care about. That's all I'm saying. But I knew a long time ago, Q, that I could survive off my Social Security, even though I hadn't reached it yet, in the Philippines where I couldn't do it at home. No, I got a good mattress. I'm telling you that I'm not going to spend $1,800 or $2,000 for a set of mattresses over here, Q. You're in the Philippines. You don't have to do it. I got good mattresses. Here and in the guest house. Ask anybody who's ever lived in the guest house. It's not this old foam that people sleep on over here. I'm not cheap. I'm not frugal. But I'm not a dummy either. So if you want to come over here and spend all your money on that fancy shit, then have to get on the plane and leave it all behind, like a lot of these guys do, that I've told you about over and over and over. Like I said, either y'all don't believe I know what I'm talking about over here, or you just don't want the information from me. Which one is it, Q? A lot of these guys that's talking to you, they've left a fortune over here in the Philippines. They living somewhere else now, back in America, trying to live that same lifestyle here that they were living at home. There's no need for that. You're not at home. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. I look like paint. I mean, and that was years ago when one of my clients, because usually what I would pay, usually in America, I'd pay what, $600 or $700 for a good set of mattresses. I used to go to like Value City, get the pillow top or whatever it was, right? Well, I went to one of my clients in Lexington, Kentucky, and while I was there, she was having mattresses delivered, and I was like, "Well, how much did you pay for those mattresses?" She said $1,800. Man, my chin almost hit the ground. And this is years ago, so you can imagine what a good set costs now. It's not necessary over here, Q. I've become a minimalist over here, and I would suggest anybody else do that. Your money's gonna last longer. He said, that's why traveling abroad got to be bigger than that split. It's so many of us that's done with the matrix. I can't live in a DR full time yet, but like you said, I just need to get away and take a break to see what else is out here. Okay? Yeah, we have to have the biggest lot. This is keeping up with the junk. This is the American way of thinking. And if you don't think like that, you're lying. We buy all that stupid shit that's unnecessary, and it's going to take you a long time to get that out of your system, unless you start doing it before you get over here. Well, it's a good, we talked about this before. What motivates me is, and I'll sacrifice whatever I have to, not to have to go back over there and live, man. Not today, guys. I'm sorry. He says, people can say what they want about my relationship with Shane, but at least we are both happy with what we have built, which is better than some dudes in front of a keyboard can say. Oh, absolutely. I'll just be saying, people always want to put words in your mouth. They want to make content off of your content instead of making organic content. This is what kind of gets to me. Like, make your own goddamn content. Get off my dick is what I say. This is why I say that American men, we become so weak, man. When I look up like sniffing around somebody else's channel, If I don't like what you're talking about, I can't deal with you. I'm just going to keep scrolling. I'm not going to make a video about you. I'm not going to get in your comments. It's not that important. Okay, but for some people, it's that important. We're immature. We're weak, man. We're too emotional. This is what happened to these guys that killed his wife and killed himself. He got emotional because the people was going to make him pay, child support, and maybe he's going to lose custody of the kids. But damn it, your kids are teenagers now. They love you and they know who you are. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Philly boy, thanks for that super chat. He says, capitalism and consumerism are rotting their wallets and brains. Some of these guys would buy sand in the desert just because the next guy had it. Man, this is facts right here. And you have to get rid of that unless you're going to be in that number. You're going to still be working. You ain't going to have a choice. Man, I got a friend, okay, if I'm 62, about to turn 63, he's 63, getting ready to turn 64. He lives in Atlanta. He's a musician. He just bought a big-ass truck, a 7-year, payment system. I'm like, there's your money, guys. This is the shit we get caught up in. No, we're materialistic in America, Q. Look what this guy says. Okay. He says, I spent damn near $500 on a Bluetooth speaker. 2 weeks later, it was on sale, half the price. I'm a minimalist now. Okay, I can show you where when I bought this computer that I'm on right now, they gave me a Bluetooth. That's enough for me. He said, the minimalist on Netflix motivated me to slowly declutter my life. Less is more. You got more freedom. Okay, I was told about a guy who's buying a truck over here for his girlfriend. 5 years. He didn't, come on, man. That's not freedom. He's tied to that damn loan. Why would you do that? Why would you spend all that money on a truck for a Filipino over here? The roads ain't what they should be. Not for a 2.5 million peso truck. She gonna ding it up and scratch it up and everything anyway. So at the end of 5 years, the truck ain't gonna be worth a damn thing. Take that 2.5 million, because this is the thinking that we've got that messes us up over here. And buy her a house if that's what you're gonna do. Okay? But no. We keeping up. He wants the truck. Because remember, stop taking financial advice from these broke ass women over here. She done convinced him to buy her truck. You ain't got 2 pesos to rub together. I'm not taking any advice from you. He said, Mandawi Foam got some good picks. The very first furniture I bought over here, Michael Beach Life, was from Mandawi Foam, but it was a real mattress. When I was living in Cebu, I can't deal with that foam, man. When I go to these Airbnbs and some of these hotels, it pisses me off, man. Yeah, okay, he says Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Oracle are spending about $1 trillion. Is that what you said? $1 trillion on AI computing in 2026. Do not fool yourself. The threat is real. Yeah, but we got other threats too. Okay, Doget, I'm not arguing with you and saying it's not a threat. Okay? I'm just saying be ready. Prepare yourself. Don't just sit around and let it happen. Okay? What's that saying about happen? It says, the people who what? Who watch it happen, and then what else? Make it happen, and then there's other people that say what happened. Don't be one of those that say what happened. Yeah, that's not a good idea. What's up, I love the chime? Okay, I'm just saying that I don't care what they got. AI ain't gonna replace me because I'm out of the game. AI ain't gonna replace me. What's up, Icy? Welcome to the chat. He said these American women ask for money, the first day. Well, welcome to the club because it's gonna happen over here. You know, but I just don't understand our thinking when it comes to uh buying shit over here. Well, I look like I saw. Okay, we were in Dumagetti. We just got back. When did we get back? Saturday. You know, it was a damn Mercedes SUV in the parking lot. Somebody lived there. I'm like, who would spend that kind of money over here? Have you ever seen a lot of these roads, they're good. Certainly on Negros Island, we have pretty good roads, but they're small. You get in that big ass thing, and 75% of the people have no license, they have no insurance, and you driving around $100,000 Mercedes SUV. I don't get it, man. But like I said, I'm a minimalist now. I don't need all that stuff. I'm not trying to impress anybody. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, be proactive. Be proactive. Don't sit around and be like, what happened? There's AI knocking at your damn door. Okay, I'm one of them guys. It ain't gonna replace me. I'm gonna be doing my own thing. Hey Q, thanks for that super chat. He said maybe we need to distinguish the difference between a want and a need. That's right. That's what a minimalist is. A lot of the shit that we got is a want. Okay, a TV is a want. A quality mattress is a need. Saves you money from seeing the doctor. Yeah, but there's different qualities. Some of this stuff is just the brand name. It's no different. Okay, we were talking about this in Bahal. It was either Maryland or somebody else asked me, what was the difference between generic medicine and brand name medicine? There is no difference. It's just that the brand name has the copyright for that brand name. So just say, for instance, Ambien, okay, the sleep medicine, that's the brand name. But when we were in Vietnam, we were able to get it was Ambien. But it was the scientific name. Same medicine. Same with over here. Okay. It's the same as what are you going to do? There's some nice Buicks out there rather than going out there, Q, and buying a damn Mercedes. Because a car really is a need in America. But if you come over here and buy, because the guy Big Love said it up earlier, he says everything all together was $3,000, right, for his set of mattresses. Why would you come to the Philippines and do that, Q? This is what I'm saying. There's a balance. Now here's a man who worked in the AI industry before he retired. He said, but the U.S. has counseled 50% of the AI data center construction for 2026. I'm not afraid, guys. He said, what happened? Yeah. This is why I'm not going to be one of them guys that's going to sit around like, what happened? Yeah, I get you. I get you. He says, I'm at the end of my career, so I'm not worried. For me, the next generation is going to have to deal with this mess. Icy says, I want to believe that no AI can replace you if you are valuable enough and you have the skill that AI cannot do. Yeah, it's just certain shit. They call it artificial intelligence for a reason. He said, Mercedes SUV in a small island is only for show. Yeah, the owner is desperate for attention. Something ain't right. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. If you stay in the Marina Spatial Condo Unit, as soon as you walk through the gate, it's the first thing right there, and they probably did that for a reason. It's the first car you see. It's a Mercedes SUV, man. I'm talking not one of them old ones. It's a new one. Rounded off, that thing probably costs $100,000. Yeah, Michael. He said the things you own you. Yeah, I ain't trying to do that. I want my freedom, man. But let's talk a little bit about the subject. But y'all can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, whatever's over here. But when I came up with this, I'm telling you, when you put something out in the ether, it comes back to you. Okay? Everybody at one time or another, certainly if you're watching this, has thought about quitting everything and getting on a plane and going somewhere else and starting over. A remote island, somewhere where nobody knows you. You want a new beginning. So then I run up on an article. The article it's in Medium. I'm a member of Medium. I pay $5 a month for it. But anyways, the lady wrote, her name is Natalia Perma-Yakova. She says, why do I feel like leaving everything behind? So if you've ever thought about walking away from it all, you're not alone and you're certainly not crazy. If you don't hear, I'm sure you've thought about it. You might call it an escape fantasy. You might call it a midlife crisis, existential crisis. But you're overwhelmed with the stress and everything of the ordinary life. And you're like, man, your mind starts wandering. What would my life be somewhere else? That's why I'm in the Philippines. It says you thought about leaving it all behind for a remote island, starting over somewhere no one knows you, quitting everything, getting on a plane, and rebuilding from scratch. If you ever fantasized about walking away from it all, you're not alone, and no, you're not crazy. Honestly, guys, put it over here in the comments if you ever thought about that. But in her article, which is so powerful, this is why I'm using it as my reference today. She says when you have thoughts like that, your inner workings may be trying to tell you something. Like you may not really want to leave it all behind. It may be something else that you need to do. He says, I can vouch for Cal's $300 rule. It's a great rule to plan around. It is, Michael Beach of Life, man. You've been to my house before. I don't have cheap stuff. It just costs less over here in the Philippines. You defeat the purpose, guys, if you come to the Philippines with that sort of mindset. But I see people do it all the time. I'm saying, dude, you're going to need that money at some point. He says AI is AI. It's like a calculator. It's like a computer. It's the next level. It's a tool. Yeah, it's not something I'm losing sleep over. But see, when we think about walking away, before I get in here, I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. And you tell somebody like, man, sick of this shit, man. I'm going to quit my job. I'm just going to use the money I got. I'm going to take a trip overseas. They think you're unstable. You're irresponsible. Let's suck it up. Be a man. Hang in there, and go crazy and blow your damn brains out or kill somebody else, right? But another article said walking away from it all, or even just thinking about walking away from it all, is a powerful brave act of self-love rather than quitting, allowing individuals to choose peace, regain control, and establish boundaries. But I know you've thought about it. You can only take so much of the damn boss at work. And that old woman's always complaining and nagging at you all the time. The bills and all that. You're thinking there's got to be another way to live. This couldn't be it. Yeah, he said, I think about it every day. See, people are afraid to think about that. They're afraid to say it because they think you're crazy. But everybody thinks about it. Every adult, okay, who's been through something has thought about it. That's all. But this lady, it's a powerful article, man. I ain't gonna lie. She said, you know the feeling. You're in the middle of your day, answering emails, folding laundry, finishing a meeting, and out of nowhere, a thought drops into your mind like a flash of lightning. What if I just disappeared for a while? Who's ever thought that? Has that ever happened to you? Okay? This is crazy, man. It says it doesn't always mean you're impulsive or unstable. Often it just means your inner life is trying to tell you something, and it finally got loud enough that you had to listen. He said, I just bought a backpack. I'm going to buy a new phone, then I'm out to a new destination. I hear you. He said, I have to make it to retirement. Well, I hope that I encourage people. You don't have to move. Have y'all got the book Wake Up and Live yet by Dorothea Brand? Sometimes we need a change of pace, guys. Sometimes we need to get out of that routine that you created for yourself. It alone will drive you crazy. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over, taking the same way home, eating at the same restaurants, talking to the same people, watching the same programs on television or YouTube or whatever. Break up the monotony, man. She says, wake up and live. Life is precious, man. I saw a post on Facebook that says, we stress too much about a life that could end at any time. How powerful is that? We do. You're worrying about all this shit and you could drop dead today in the next 5 minutes. I saw a friend of mine in Save More yesterday. And it's crazy, but one of the things he brought up, he's like, he said he feels sorry for Marilyn's friend who got run over. I don't know why he brought that up. The woman was 28, man, the prime of her life, beautiful. Okay, you ain't gonna find a more beautiful woman over here, not physically beautiful than she was. Worked out every day. Walked across the street and got run over. That happens far too much over here, but it's just goes to show you guys, you know, you could die at any time. So why even worry about that stuff? Why even stress over that stuff like that? I mean, I don't like to think about it because it was preventable. People over here seem to be in a hurry all the damn time. All of Southeast Asia, every place I've been, you get into traffic, try to cross the street. That's where you rushing to, man. Everybody's in a damn hurry. Hey, Travis was here in 1980. Thanks for that super chat. He said, my close friend passed away a few weeks ago. He was 58. He thought he had all the time in the world. Man, my condolences, really, my sincerest condolences to his family. My brother died February the 13th. He wasn't 60. He was 65. You know, and that's another thing about living to be 60 and why 60 is so liberating, man. It's like you come into your own, like the guy said, once you realize what life is all about, hell, it's too late, it's over. But you start appreciating life. You have a greater appreciation, man. Gratitude, man, is all around me, man. You see so many people die. You see how unfair life is. And just to breathe in and breathe out, man, you know how big of a deal that is. So I don't complain, man. I may complain in passing, but I don't sit around and complain. He said the starting point is the hard part. 71-year-old mother, 12-year-old son, and gorgeous St. Bernard, but my heart is leaning toward Rojas City when my opportunity confronts me. Well, just take a break, man. Can't you take a break? You know, can't you get away for 2 weeks? You know, why, die like the guy just said. He said his friend died at 58, thinking he had all the time in the world. This is what we're doing, Andrew Sharp. This is the mistake we're making. You know how much time, you know how much money you got in the bank, but you don't know how much time you got left. Do it now. Okay, that's what W. Clement Stone said. Do it now. He didn't say just do it. He said do it now, long before Nike was ever thought about coming into existence. He said write it on a piece of paper. Carry it around with you everywhere you go. And when you start procrastinating, take it out and look at it and do it now. Take the vacation now. He says, I read that book once. It had me going skydiving the next day and almost killed me. It was great. Sometimes you have to say, F it, why not? And then she asked a question in there, and it wasn't her original. There's a French saying that talks about what would you do or what would you try to do if you knew you were going to be successful? Everything you tried, you knew you were going to be successful. What would you do? This is the attitude, she said, we need to develop. Because a lot of us are afraid to even try. He said, God willing, I plan to travel to the Philippines again in the next 2 years. Yeah, man, let's just hope that time comes. But be happy, do something. But here's what she said. She said, here's what's usually hiding underneath the urge to leave everything behind and what you can do instead. So she says, number one, you're not broken, you're burned out. A lot of us is burned out. I was. Man, I used to love the insurance business, man. I used to love it. I was so proud of myself. I could put on the suit and tie and I go out. I had a purpose, man. And I was good at what I did. But the day came when I became burnt out, man. I didn't want to pick up the phone. I didn't want to run any more appointments. I was done with it. I said, I don't care how much money, you offer me. I don't want it anymore. And that's what happened to me. But hindsight is always 20/20. She says one of the most common reasons people fantasize about starting over is simple. They're exhausted. Who's exhausted out there? I was. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. He said, salute. See, just being here in the Philippines is enough for me. Sometimes we chase happiness and love and women and money that we miss life, man. You can't see it. There's a saying, guys, you've heard it before. Stop and smell the roses. It literally means that. But we too busy, man. Sometimes, people complain about the roosters over here, man. Sometimes just hearing the roosters, man, is a spiritual awakening for me. I'm alive, man. But we miss that. We think happiness and all this stuff is a destination. We chase it like a promotion. That you miss life. The little shit. Sometimes, man, you think I'm lying, man. I'll be stressing and about nothing. And Booby will come in here and say something stupid and will wake me up, man. Literally wake me up and be like, man, life is so great. Life is so beautiful. But we miss it, man. Because we chasing. You running out there. That life literally passes you by. It literally passes us by. But we get exhausted, she says. Says when your life is packed with expectations, responsibilities. This is me in today, guys. This is us. When your life is packed with expectations, responsibilities, roles, and routines that no longer feel meaningful, your nervous system starts looking for an escape hatch. So you're thinking you're crazy. You're thinking, oh, I'm irresponsible, man. You know, I shouldn't be thinking like this. Let me shut that down. But no, it's a real thing, man. Your inner life is trying to tell you something. He said it's not the thought of wanting to get away that bothers people. It's realizing you need to get away and can't as a result of financial reasons or otherwise. But there's something you can do, man. You can get away. They give you 2 weeks on that funky ass job, Reginald. Some of us got a little bit more than that. But it comes to a point where you got to start making a way out of no way. You can't say, okay, my financial responsibility. Make some sacrifices. We think we got to be the perfect life. You know, I started paying cash for my cars, man, when I figured it out. My kids still haven't figured it out. How many times have they bought new cars, they get repossessed, and they do it again? And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why don't you just save you up $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and buy you a car and be done with it? Because once that first payment kicks in, and then that old expensive ass full coverage insurance that you have to carry too, it's a rude awakening. Well, anyway, she says it's not that you actually want to destroy everything. It's just that your current reality, listen to this, guys, isn't sustainable anymore. It wasn't, man. I was getting older. The insurance business is really for a young man. Unless you are FMO or you own your own agency or something like that. Because it's a lot of ripping and running, man. You busy. And I couldn't sustain it, man. I had to do twice as much just to maintain my current lifestyle. I just got, I got burned out, man. And it just got to the point where I said, I'm not running another damn appointment. This is it. If I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to do it. He said, Unc, that's why you went to the Vietnam. You had to change the pace of things. No longer on autopilot. You're now alive and living. It was really one of the best decisions I've made in a long time. Because you can even get caught up in retirement. You get into a routine. He said, big bro, I totally get it why you left a thriving insurance income and was just done with it all. I can't wait to retire. I'm literally crawling to the finish line. That's what happened to me. I crawled into the Philippines, man. I was in bad shape, but my Filipino wife didn't understand it. Remember, we come from different cultures. Our problems and their problems are totally different. She couldn't understand my problem. You what? You tired? You know, you're anxious, you're depressed. What's that? You know, I was born depressed, she said. You know, hard times, our hard times and their hard times are totally different. When she was looking at me, it was like it's something you could easily overcome and snap out of it because we don't understand each other. It takes years, man. But when you tell guys that, they don't believe it. These women will tell you anything you want to hear. They'll do anything that you want them to do to get to where they're trying to go. So you get married. You move in with them. And it blows up, man, because we're totally different. Culture is everything. But she couldn't understand that. When we moved back over here, her family looked at her like, what's wrong with you? Get back over there. Your mission is not complete. There ain't nothing over here for you. What do you mean he's tired? What do you mean he's depressed? Nonsense, okay? This is what they're thinking. They're looking at me like I was crazy. I was not crazy. He said most fruits and vegetables here in the U.S. are not even organic. If so, it's freaking expensive. I told Marilyn, she went to the market today. I said, get more fruit. He said, testosterone causes men to take bigger risks and a lot of other stuff. And allow these women to control us with that negotiator between her legs. But anyway, it says, ask yourself, what parts of your life feel heavy even when they shouldn't? When was the last time I felt like I was living, not just managing? It was a long time before, I could remember that. But at some point, man, it gets loud enough where it gets your attention. Am I exhausted or just out of alignment? This is what the lady's asking, man. Sometimes, your inner life is trying to tell you something. He says, you need a reliable vehicle in the Philippines. I'm not trying to ride buses over here. Well, you can get a motorcycle. I bought Maryland a motorcycle. I'm just saying that I would not buy it. This guy bought a truck, a brand new truck, 2.5 million peso truck for a woman that doesn't even have her own house. This is ego. I don't know what it is. But like I said, we do some crazy stuff over here. Something happens, man, when you start fooling with women over here. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. I don't have the answer to that. Cedric asked earlier, said, what's wrong with men today? I wish I had that answer. I'd bottle it up and sell it. But testosterone is one of the problems, man, to make you do something stupid like that. Instead of buying a woman a house, you buy a truck that you got to pay for 5 years. It's going to be ripped up, torn up, scratched up, beat up because she can't drive. The roads are small over here. In 5 years, it's not going to be worth anything. You're going to be them threw away 2.5 million pesos. So when I come out and say, I don't feel sorry for people like that because there's enough information out here that you shouldn't do that. But some people are right. Yeah, you do need a reliable vehicle. But a reliable vehicle to me, it would be a brand new one. If you're talking about a car, because, man, I'm going to tell you, I'd be reluctant to buy anything used over here. The guys that I knew that have bought used stuff, it's usually from another foreigner. Okay? I just wouldn't buy anything used over here. Not like that. Now, if Paul, my buddy right here, if he wanted to sell that van, because I've seen the van, I rode in it, he takes very good care of it, yeah, I'd buy it used from him. He says, I came to the Philippines to get away from digitalization, wanted more peaceful, less stressful life, and a pretty scenery. I don't need roofs that's 15 feet from my bedroom window to know I'm alive. Just noise, as it's noisy here. Yeah, it's quiet where I am. Y'all can see it's quiet every now and then. But I know that everybody watching this, at some point, it's thought, I'm done, man. I need to get out of here. And you start fantasizing about what life could be somewhere else. If you were single. If you didn't have kids, if you didn't have all these bills, like Reginald said, that's driving you to work and to stay on that hamster wheel. Decisions that you made when you were younger that you wouldn't make right now. He says, I'm 48 on medical release from the military after 24 years, so I guess I'm retired medically. I have days where I feel like the walls are closing in on me. And this damn snow is tiring. Yeah. You're not crazy, guys. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? I'm just telling you. He says, I'm exhausted with women chasing me, looking for an upgrade and bringing nothing to the table. You know what? Once the dust settles, man, living with another human being is hard. You're putting up with them and they're putting up with you, and you don't know, when you wake up the next morning, their mood swings. A lot of women over here, man, they're unpredictable. Okay, I'm just telling you now. I've never dealt with that before. Every woman I've ever dealt with over here is unpredictable. You don't know what you're gonna wake up with. And eventually the dust is gonna settle, man. I don't tell anybody what to do. I don't tell you not to get married. I just share my experiences with you. I never said don't get married over here. I'm saying a lot of guys are avoiding the Philippines because they see our stories over here. They see how easy it is to get caught up over here. See them guys that try to make those videos, they don't give you the real information. Man, when you get off the plane over here, the woman's not going to require you to wear a rubber. That's a big responsibility, man, right there. Okay, it's like, well, what universe are we living in? It's 2026. What do you mean? You're not taking birth control. I don't have to put on a rubber. You just want me to go right in there like that? What is it? What's going on for real? What do you really want? What are you after for real? People don't understand that. They're very fertile. And then you're bringing your Western thinking over here. So if the woman gets pregnant, I'm going to marry her then. You don't know her. What's up, Don? But these are these special guys. They're the perfect guys. I'm just a regular guy. I'm telling you what happens over here. I'm not making shit up. These aren't stories. There's somebody on here now that can bear witness to what I'm saying. They don't ask you to wrap it up. Okay? He said, hey, what's up, Chaz? He said, get the thumbs up. Yeah, thank y'all, man, for real. I keep forgetting to ask that. I watch the same live streams y'all watch. It's some boring ass live streams. Okay? Hit the like button. He says, you had the bag as an insurance agent. You were still down depressed. Yeah, because money, man, at some point you reach, I had everything. And at some point you get to where you're saying, is this all there is? There's got to be more to it than this. If you reach that, man, you understand what I'm saying. But if you ain't there yet, you think I'm crazy. You would say, sheesh. No, you can get to that point where you got everything else. You just exhausted. You just don't want to keep doing it to continue that cycle, man. That's all it is. No, I don't drive a Jeepney here. All I do is, okay, let me read your thing. He said, you too much of a minimalist. He said, ain't no way I'm taking a Jeepney, waiting an hour in traffic, bunched up with no aircon. Call me materialistic for getting a car, I'll be that. No, I said, I don't have a car. Well, when you come over here and you spend that money on a car, and then, who you going to sell it to? Okay? When you think that the value of a car goes down when you leave America, wait when you drive off the lot here. There are no Jeepneys in San Carlos City. I don't ride Jeepneys. But I do take Grab. I do take the taxi. I do take the tricycles here. And I do take the series bus. But there's better things I can do. There's guys who don't have houses here, but who have a car that costs more than my house. Okay? I mean, you got to be practical about it. But see, this is saying a lot, though. See, this is saying a lot, though. This is American thinking. This is Western thinking. Oh, just buy a used, perhaps beat up truck. It's cheaper for a reliable mechanic to fix it there. Oh, is it? Are you going to find a reliable mechanic here? He said, the pushy is real, Cal. Of course it is, because of the testosterone. He said, after that Mercedes, he said, I'm just trying to get my visa renewed every 2 months. It's good enough to just be in the Philippines for me, man. I don't need all the fancy stuff anymore. I appreciate the Philippines for what it is, even more so than a lot of the locals, because remember, they're busy running to and from. They can't appreciate life over here the way I appreciate it, because I've slowed way down, man. It's a difference, okay? One time, park your car if you're over in America and walk to the store. You're going to see so much stuff that you miss driving in that car. You'll see what I'm talking about, man. Sometimes you got to stop, man, and smell the roses. Life will literally pass you by. Hey, thanks for the super chat, ISG Horn. He says, no matter where you go, you show up, meaning we need to address our issues before walking away, because those issues and problems get off the plane with you. Absolutely. That's what she's saying here. She's saying this. She said, what's this? Wait. Yeah, here. She says, it doesn't always mean you're impulsive or unstable. Often it just means your inner life is trying to tell you something. And it finally got loud enough that you had to listen. So she's saying what you can do instead of running off, as G Horn, you know. But the thought, see, we don't even want to admit to the thought, because he's saying, you wrong, man. You know, you got responsibilities, etc., etc. You're unstable. She's saying that's not right. You know, she said, no, you're not crazy. You're none of that. It's normal. But you're right. That's why I said I started working on myself before I got here. And you got to understand, man, I was coming back and forth to the Philippines for 9 years before I decided to settle here. I think people are pulling the trigger too fast. They're in too much of a hurry, and I don't know why. Now, this is Paul. He's got a truck. I mean, a van. Nice van. He said there's no used parts market here in the Philippines. And finding a good, reliable mechanic is hard to find in the Philippines for a car. But easy to find motorcycle mechanics, but still hard to find used parts. Same, even for new. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. He's talking as if he's in America. That's the matrix thinking that we bring over here. We think everything's the same here as it is at home. It's not, guys. Okay? I'm just telling you that I've been here long enough that I can make the decision I don't want a car over here. Okay? I've been here long enough I can make that decision. Hey, thanks, Andrew Sharp, for that super sticker. I really appreciate it. He said, Iran has rejected going to the latest negotiation session. Now is Trump going to follow through on his threats once ceasefire ends Tuesday? Probably not. Because remember, guys, he's saying this stuff, man. They're manipulating the market. Nobody's stupid. He thinks the whole world is stupid. He thinks everybody's a part of that cult. This guy's manipulating the market. You know good and damn well you're going to fire on an Iranian ship, board the damn ship, and think they're going to show up for negotiations. You see what the Iranians said? We switched planes. Then we landed and caught a train. We were afraid that they were going to kill us once we left negotiations. He said, I'm on my way soon. Yeah, yeah, but we got people. He said this war is done, but we got people working till they 80 something years old. We can't find. We sending people. We just send some people to the moon again, but we can't find enough money to make sure that when our seniors retire, they can retire for good. Yeah, he said crazy how the market is tied into Iranian activity. And remember, the market is not the economy. If you think I'm lying, a group of investors bet 700 million that the cost of oil was going to go down right before Trump makes that announcement that, oh, we've come to a negotiation, an agreement, I mean. All right, looks like we're going to come to an agreement. Iran has agreed to everything that we said. The Strait of Hormuz is open. But they think people are stupid, I love LaChan. Well, that would be good. He says, I hope the peso sees 70 for every dollar. And you're going to have people on here that's going to say, oh, it's going to hurt Filipinos. No, it's not. It doesn't hurt your standard of living that the pound is stronger than the dollar, does it? It's been that way. When I was over in England in 1983, it was $1.60 for every pound. $1.60 for every pound. So imagine that. It was almost two of our dollars for 1 pound. I mean, but it's not gonna. It would be great for us, but it's not gonna hurt the Filipinos, guys. It's what y'all don't understand. The dollar's not the only thing they trading with, and you got to realize something. The OFWQ are sending dollars back to their family, so they're actually benefiting from the dollar being high. There's more money that's coming back to the Philippines. Yeah, this is foolishness, man. Now he's getting ready to have a Bible. Now imagine this. They get ready to have a Bible study in the White House. Ever since he pictured himself as Jesus and then went in, had a beef with the Pope. Come on, guys. You see where Pete Hegseth then quoted the damn fake-ass Bible verse from Pulp Fiction. You can't make this stuff up, man, but this is DEI for you right here. They'll have you thinking, oh, they putting black people and women in these positions, right? No, we need to, okay? Because you putting these guys in there who are unqualified. Guys reading those. Man, people, you can't make this shit up, man. You can't make it up. You can't. I'm sorry. Guys reading a fake-ass Bible verse from a movie, thinking it's a real Bible verse. He said Trump said that they didn't even have a rowboat left, and then you hear about Iranian gunboats firing on vessels. Yeah, shooting down F-35s and F-15Es, but they ain't got nothing left. But they've got the whole Strait of Hormuz closed down. I thought you got to understand their Air Force is old. Trump ain't said nothing. Their Navy is old. It was gifted to them. It's 53 years old. It's not like we destroyed Britain's Navy or Canada's Navy or something like that. See, they just put that stuff out there to your ears like, yeah, we destroyed the Air Force. Yeah, that old-ass Air Force that they got, that'd be like coming over here saying you destroyed the Philippines Air Force. They're flying around in 1975 planes over here. Okay? Or their Navy that they've got over here. Okay, the used frigates that America's selling to them and stuff like that. I'm not putting the Philippines down. I'm just saying that, these politicians, they put that stuff out there and you don't take 5 minutes to even research it. Like, oh, wow, they destroyed Iran's Air Force, and you see that their Air Force is crap. Okay? Yeah, he says 30% of the Philippines GDP is from OFW remittances. Problem is brain drain, and they need to get resources out of ground and get manufacturing. Yeah, that's what they call the OFWs heroes, man, and they are for real. The sacrifices they make, but we're OFWs to a certain extent. We left our countries. What's up, Cisco? He said in the market there's always winners and losers. If you're losing, someone is winning. If you're winning, someone is losing. And if you know what's happening, you always win. Yeah. And there's inside information too, Reginald, which is illegal. Okay, that's what these people are doing. And then they're sending Jared Kushner and what's the other guy they sent? These are people who they don't even have government titles. They're not associated with the government. So why is he sending them to negotiate on behalf of the United States government? Whitlock is his name. Okay. A Zionist, billionaire. So you think that Iran doesn't know who these guys are? No, I mean we're a lot of us are away from our countries. Q. He said, "What's crazy, Cal? The other Republicans aren't saying anything about the lies being told. It's crickets." Yeah, Whitcock. Yeah, Whitcock. Well, they're cowards, but we keep voting them in office. I already told you how I feel. Everybody from my city council up to the president needs to be removed. And we need to start that over because we've been bought out. There's no reason we should be over fighting Iran. They did not pose a threat to us. Yeah, they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. Yeah, they're all corrupt. But who's ever thought, he said the peso's 59.95, hit the thumbs up. And that's good for us. Because nobody feels sorry for you. I've been over here with 41. Okay? Nobody felt sorry for me when it was 41. But now that it's 59, the Filipino people are going to suffer. No, they're not. He says, it's crazy who the negotiators are. They're representing us. The Iranians don't respect them, and they don't trust them either. No, I don't regret it at all. You know, at some point he says, do you regret leaving America? I'm sure your family back home misses you. Yeah, it's just, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't. I tell my kids all the time, would you rather see me here, living and thriving? You can talk to me. You can see me on, FaceTime and all that. Or you want to see me in a nursing home, I dead. I'm going to start going home every year, though. Once this Iranian thing is over with, I'm going home. But other than my two sons, my children there are grown. And I was talking about this the other day, and I'm going to go back and read the article because I don't want y'all to misinterpret what I'm saying. But you can have just as much of an influence on your children when you're not in their house as you can when you live in the house with them. And they were saying, well, how could that be? Well, they were saying it used to be in the old days, because remember, this is all tied together. When we were working on the farm, when you was at home all the time, you had hands on raising the kids, training them in the way that you want them to go. But now you're working. You're gone 10 to 12 hours a day, and then you're sleeping. And you don't have the hands-on training and upbringing as you used to have. So you don't have, it's not as big an advantage as people make you think that it is, that you're sitting there with your kids. And that's just an argument. We're always going to argue about something, and it's no guarantee, man, that you being there with your children is going to make things better. Because when they leave your house, no matter what you're teaching them, the noise outside that house is a whole lot louder, man. That's why we got the problems we have. But what's up? What's the next one? She says. Okay, because she's saying you might not need to escape. You might just need to redesign. She said starting over doesn't always mean burning it all down. Sometimes it just means rewriting the parts of your life that no longer feel true. So maybe it might be getting another job. It might be getting a divorce. It might be getting your own place. But see, when we think about walking away and starting all over, we always think about, well, maybe we got to burn everything down. He said Wickoff means ripoff. I mean, I don't regret anything, guys. He said, good morning, Cal. Question, do you regret having children in the Philippines? Wondering if I should consider it in the future. I don't regret anything in my life because it's done. I've got great children, man, in my union from the Philippines. But when I talk about getting caught up, I'm telling you about me. People get offended because they take it personal. They think I'm talking about them. No, I'm talking about me. When you come over here and you start dealing with women, there's some things you need to know. It's very easy to get caught up over here. And having children is one of those things. Okay? Because they're not on birth control. But no, absolutely not, man. I'm so proud of my children, man. And once you get to an age, like I said, I've caught up now. Because at some point, you got to catch up. You can't play behind the 8-ball. They're all U.S. citizens. They all getting Social Security benefits. They're living their best lives, man. So now I can live my best life. I can sleep better at night. Because it's a big responsibility when you have children over here. It's not like having it at home. Everything's not automatic. There's a lot of steps you got to take, Adam. There's a lot of steps you got to take. But at least you're considering it. At least you're thinking about it. Some of us, we don't think about it, man. We just come over here and get caught up. Sometimes you stop and you ask yourself, is it this easy? Because there's a lot behind it. It's not just some nice looking young woman saying, here, you can have me do whatever you want to me. No, you're going to pay a price for that. And this is what guys don't want to admit. They think that these women want them because they're good looking. Oh, look at me, I got a good job and this and that, and I'm intelligent. Fool, you a means to an end. And this is why they don't like that. They think they really coming over here getting into normal relationships. Nothing normal about the relationships over here. Can you build something? Yeah, but it's tough, man. And they always talk about, well, you did it. Yeah, this is my 5th relationship, basically. Okay? And this is what I'm telling you. This is why I be sharing with you guys. But y'all don't want the information from me. You want a guarantee. You want to listen to those guys who are hanging on by dear life. They want you to think there's no relationship that's perfect, man. No marriage. He's getting on her nerves just as much as she's getting on his, but they're not going to tell it. They're going to make you think they got this perfect union. That's bullshit. There is no perfect union. Certainly when you're coming from 2 different cultures. I told you, I was beat. My wife couldn't even have sympathy enough for me. She didn't understand it. I can't blame her. Their problems aren't our problems. So yeah, having children over, I don't regret anything because it's all a learning experience. But there's some steps over here that you have to take when you have children. You can't just have them and walk away. You got to think it all the way through. Because if you don't be with the woman, you can give her 100,000 pesos a month. Your child is just going to live better in the province or the squatters area. That's all. You got to do as much as you can to just try to get as close of a guarantee as possible that your child is going to have a good life over here. So building a house is a good way to do it. Not a big house. See, if something were to happen to me, okay, Booby's going to get that, just say 50,000 a month. Just say if something happened to me and me and Marilyn split up, Marilyn could keep this house with 50,000 a month. Easily. She wouldn't have to move. But a lot of guys, they don't do that. They just come over and have kids. And then they think, oh, I'm going to send, whatever amount they sending over here. You'll be shocked at how your child is living. So yeah, something that. Now, I only have one Filipino wife. This is another thing that people are lying. I didn't even get married here. I got married in America because I know things happen. Divorce happens. I've only been married to a Filipino once. I've been married to an American once. So he's no my first Filipino wife, my only Filipino wife. Okay, I've never been married over here in the Philippines. I have never been married to but one Filipino wife. So whoever's putting that out there, they're lying. They don't know me. Okay? You still would have been together if you would have kept her here in the Philippines. No, if I'd have stayed in America. Okay? Because you got to understand, Q, that when me and my wife got married, I wasn't able to retire, guys. You're talking as if you know the situation. Y'all don't listen. You only hear what you want to hear. When I brought my wife and son to America, that was 2014. That was 12 years ago. I was 50 years old. I think I just turned 51. Yeah, I just turned 51. There was no keeping her over here. I was still working. Okay? I was at the top of my game in the insurance business. There was no keeping her over here. Okay? So it's opposite. If I'd have stayed there, we'd still be together. That's the only reason we split up. We didn't fight. We didn't argue. There was no cheating. There was none of that. But the woman had a mission. Okay? And I'll be trying to tell guys, they're on a mission. Certainly when you take them to America, the things that they have to get done. And after 4.5 years, she didn't have them done yet. So when she came over here, imagine, you're living in America, which is Disneyland for them. This is something they dream about their whole lives. Something we take for granted. They finally make it over there. Jobs is falling out of the sky, basically, over there for them, compared to their life over here. Okay? The crosswalks really mean something over there. There's a lot more order and everything, okay? It's a new world. They start working, getting friends, living this life, and then they come over here. You don't know the memories that they hold of this place. Yeah, they love the Philippines. Nationalism is big here. Filipinos are proud of their country, but when she got over here, man, she panicked. She was, after a while, she was on vacation. I was retiring. She was on vacation. She was like, nope, I don't want this. Shout out to my boy Hitman. he sent me a video today of the people. They were at the ferry terminal buying tickets. I mean, we saw it. We saw it real time. We were on our way to the bus station in Dumageddon. I'm talking about hundreds of people, guys. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 lines, and it was all crammed in there together. And it was a lot of chaos trying to get a ferry ticket. You know, see, my wife grew up with all that stuff. And it's like, no, I don't want that anymore. Okay, I don't want, you know, my wife used to work from, she left the house at 7 in the morning, didn't get home till 11 at night, every day, for less than 5,000 pesos a month. So finally, one day, she got up to go to work, and she couldn't get out of bed. She had literally worked herself to exhaustion. Okay? I'm sorry. So when you bring them back over here, that's when the problems start. They've escaped, man. They've escaped. What's up, Obi-Wan Denobi? Welcome to the chat. He said, I agree with you. Men have to work on themselves first and be confident in what you have to offer a woman. Vet carefully and choose wisely. But the whole thing is, though, why do we make it about a woman, though, Rich, is what I'm saying. Why is yeah, you're going to have a woman, you're a man. But we make it all about the woman coming over to the Philippines. I think that's the problem. You're right. Work on yourself. But we make it all about the woman. That's our sole purpose. A lot of men, it's their sole purpose for being here. Just being here is enough for me, because I'm telling you guys, wherever I am is going to be the best place for me. I could have stayed in Vietnam. It would have been the best place for me. But we make it all about the woman. These are some weak-ass men. And then when you try to help them, they don't want your help. I'll be damned if I'm going to pay 5 years, 2.5 million pesos for a damn truck for some woman that don't even really know how to drive. Okay? This is the type of thinking of the men who come over here. So when you try to give them information like, dude, what are you doing? Do you really know what you're doing? You might as well just take that money and burn it up. Oh, I'm a grown man. I can do whatever I want to do. Okay, that's an excuse, guys. That's an excuse to be a damn fool. No damn way I'm going to give 2.5 million. And you don't even live here? I'm going to tell you right now, fool, is a man driving that truck while you over wherever you are. Okay? Okay, there's too many red flags in that situation. So now he's going to give the woman between 100 and 150,000 pesos a month. You a goddamn fool. And when you come on here and you try to give guys advice, and then you got these other old limp dick, weak ass men trying to push back. Okay? If you giving a woman 100 to 150,000 pesos a month, shame on you with a new damn truck. And it's happening more than you think. I'm over here. A lot of these cocksuckers be pushing back on my videos. They're not even here. You know, I'm saying that you ain't got to be that weak. You ain't got to be that stupid. It don't take that much to live over here, to have a relationship over here. Nowhere near that much. So then when you got men like that, remember I told you on the video, they looking around, they seeing what we're doing for the woman we're with. It makes it harder on the next man. Crazy. What's up, Q-Dub? Now, you at work, right? He said, what's up, man? He said, what are we talking about now? Well, the title is Thinking About Walking Away From It All, You're Not Alone. Everybody's thought about that. But imagine that you're giving a woman between 100 and 150,000. There's not that much love in the world. Okay? It's not that good, and he don't even live here. But you got guys doing that. Yeah, some are just bigger than others. But when you tell those type of stories, men don't want to hear it. Oh, we're tired of the sob stories. Well, they're never going to end. They're just going to keep going. It just amazes me, man, the extreme lengths that we go to have a woman. You couldn't be that weak, but maybe you are, man. Yeah, yeah. This is a fact. This is true. Okay? So he's basically giving her all his money. What are you going to live on? Whatever happened to self-preservation? Whatever happened to that? Huh? Whatever happened to self-preservation? You got to look out for yourself. What's going to happen if you can't provide that money, or once y'all split up? Remember, I try to advise you guys. Well, not advise. I'm going to say suggest. I say don't fool with these women that's already been with a foreigner, because you don't know what he was doing or what he wasn't doing. Imagine coming behind him. You don't have a chance. He's sending $100,000 to $150,000 a month. Bought a new truck, $2.5 million that he's taking responsibility for. She don't work. Okay, all she's got is a negotiator between her legs, an old stinking pussy that bleeds once a month. That's not worth all of that, what he's giving her. I'm sorry, guys. And I'm going to keep giving it to you like that, whether these cocksuckers like it or not. Because that's all she's giving him, that 100,000 other women over here could give him. And it don't cost that much. She don't even have a place of her own. Man, you guys are crazy, man. But they want to give you the good side. Yeah, thank you. But see, you live here, Richie. Rich, you live here. And you like, 150,000 for what? She's only, I guarantee you that at the end of the month, she don't got nothing. Because a friend of mine, his wife done ran off from him. He took her to the States and everything, right? She ran off over here, and he estimates that she came back to the Philippines with $12,000. Well, I said, well, shit, that's nothing. That money will be gone in a couple of months. Okay? They don't know how to manage that kind of money. It's going to be spent on Lechon and Red Horse beer. Okay? I'm just saying you don't have to do it. I don't care how good she looks. And I was told she's a 2 in the dark. That's what I was told. She's a 2 in the dark. So let that sink in. Yeah. And the new truck for $2.5 million for a 2. A diabolical 2 in the dark. Crazy. But when you talk about it, they don't want to hear it. They want to guarantee that every woman they meet over here is going to be a good one. It's a trap. Whether you want to hear it or not. Unless you got a strong man, because some guys all in the comments telling about, that doesn't happen to everybody. Now guess what? He said, I'm engaged, my fiance, I'm coming over there to meet her family. Fool, you caught up. You just don't know it. You've already done what I said happens to a lot of men. You get married, you shack up, one of these things. You have children, you go broke, you die, your health goes bad, you go in jail, you go to jail, or you get divorced. Yeah, 2 in the dark. She living better than me. 150,000? At 60, what's that? That's $2,500 a month, 2,500 a month, and the big truck. He says if I'm giving 150, she's gonna give me 149 back. Yeah, bring me back my change. Hell, he man, I'm telling you, boy, that's a good one right here. That's a story of all stories. But at least he's going broke 1 month at a time. He's not just giving all the money at once. He says, if I'm supporting every adult woman in your family with a job, best believe I feel like I'm entitled to whatever she'd break out for her breadwinner. I don't know if she could do anything to earn $150,000 for me because I've been over here too long and I've gotten it all on less. You don't need. I mean, there's nothing that this woman could give me back for $150,000 a month. I'm sorry. He said it's not the women, it's the men who do anything to gain favor, but don't realize that women has no respect for that man because it's too easy. Well, this is what it seems like with this situation. She don't respect him. Okay. I'm just trying to have the conversation to let, because you guys are going to come over here. You're going to get involved with women. I'm saying take it slow. There's no reason for you to be giving out that kind of money to a broke woman who's not going to manage it. She should be filthy rich by now. Nope. It's just impossible. They just don't have any experience. He says, hell, I daydream about People's Park and the beach and enjoying street food, maybe a red horse at the Canadian Beaver and Beaver Burger. Yeah. I mean, just simple stuff. Being here is enough for me, because I'm able to appreciate life when I'm here. It's so slow for me, man. Hearing the roosters and, watching Booby run around, it wakes me up, man. Otherwise, I'm like everybody else. But being here in the Philippines, man, I'm able to appreciate life just for what it is. Now, I'm not talking about Merlin. I'm talking about this guy. Yeah, nothing's worth that much. Yeah, well, that's Jeffrey Tatter saying. That's not mine. He said, phrase for the day, not even a two in the dark. That's true. But I'm saying, what could she possibly be giving a man to give that kind of money? But see, this is a new story. I didn't even know it. I was told the story. And I'm like, these stories will never end. Did you see the woman who took the 11 million from that man? Well, he gave her the 11 million. I'm like, lady, you a one. If she was casket clean, she was a one. I mean, literally a one. But yet she was married. But in doing him like that, the guy who she was married to, another foreigner, was, in cahoots with her to take 11 million. But I think he got some of his money back. Robbie Tupou made her sell a lot of that shit. But you're never going to get it all back. He said some of these men are trying to buy love and buy a woman's loyalty. Never worked and it isn't going to start working now. You can't buy it, you got to earn it. We're in such a hurry. Are there good women over here? Yeah. Are they cooperative? Yeah. But you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to go crazy, guys. I'm sorry. You don't. ISG Horn, thanks for the super chat. He says, I'm confused since when does a man wanting a woman make him weak? I'm single and know there is no substitution for long-term vetting, only food's rush. We're saying that when you got to buy it, okay, and you got to spend that kind of money for it, that makes you weak. Not wanting a woman, you're a man, so you're going to have a woman. We're saying that. We're saying don't make the woman your sole purpose for coming to the Philippines or going anywhere. I mean, how crazy is that? Just stop 1 minute, ISG Horn, and think about that. Nothing outside of you is going to make you happy anyway. You can't blame nothing outside of you for the good or the bad. It's all on the inside of you. We're chasing after happiness. You want a promotion or something. There's a saying with the Buddha. The student tells the Buddha, I want happiness. So the Buddha says, take away the I, which is the ego. And he says, then take away the want, which is the desire. He says, see, now all you're left with is happiness. And this is what gets us. And we don't really know if that's from the Buddha, but it's, its own, whether the Buddha actually said that or not, it makes great sense. We're chasing after these women and stuff. I want a good relationship. Well, take the I and the want out of that. You just got a relationship. That's all. Why would you spend so much money just to have a woman that probably, what do you expect for that? What do you expect these women to do for us over here, first of all? Is that all you want is sex, basically? That's all it is, man. So you're going to pay her for it. No, this is just an excuse. This is just an excuse, Lee. I'm sorry, you guys, it's making it worse for everybody else. And that's why it never stops. Talking about, yeah, he's a grown man. That's the biggest damn excuse to be a fool. He said, PAL has nonstop Chicago to Manila. The service will operate 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, departing Manila in the afternoon and arriving at O'Hara International Airport. I read about that. Now, is that still going to happen because of the jet fuel crisis? No, you can't even justify it for a 15. Certainly when you're not over here. He's not over here. He's not over here. You could get a woman in America for that. And who may have her own job. Who may even already have her own car. For $2,500 a month, you could get a nice looking woman over there. Yeah, casket clean. You heard that before. But this woman wasn't even a one. And she had her, Sunday best on. No, he's not even over here. Let that sink in. But remember, Lee said, oh, he's a grown man. That's an excuse, guys. Okay, don't use that as an excuse. That's an excuse. But here's what she's saying. This lady that wrote this article about, why do I want to walk away from it all and start over, she's saying. Because everybody at some point has thought about that. You get burnt out. You get frustrated. You get tired of the same routine over and over. You say, what if I just disappear for a while? What would it feel like to be on a remote island somewhere, a new place where nobody knows me? I'm just going to get on a plane. I'm going to quit everything. I'm just going to walk away from my job and everything. Get on a plane and fly somewhere and start over. But she says the urge to walk away from everything isn't always about escape. It's often about returning to yourself. To the part of you that's been buried under pressure, performance, or pretending. Wow. Yeah, $2,500. Boy, these guys, I tell you what, man. These guys, they doing too much, Roger. He said 2,500 goes a long way on me. Yeah. Imagine it's like these women are like drunken lottery winners, basically, when you guys send money like that. I mean, they having, when I tell you about the guy, a friend of mine who sent the woman over who actually gave her $3 million, but $1.3 million in cash. Every night, this woman had a party. It was on Facebook. I'm talking about just so many of her friends in her apartment that he was paying for on her furniture. I mean, this is no lie. I'm not exaggerating. The floor littered with Emperador bottles, Apple, what's those Pilsner beer bottles, the apple flavor, Red Horse, pizza, wings. Okay? Every night during the lockdown. Until now, she doesn't have 2 pesos to rub together. That would be like giving a woman in America $1.3 million. Pissed it all away. Ain't got nothing to show for it right now. 6 months after that happened, wanted to borrow $5,000 from me. I about fell off the bus. I get the text message. He said, I paid the rent at my place, which is $1,800, Cal, so I guess I'm simping and letting my wife stay there for free. No. That's your wife. This guy's not married, Cisco. Okay? No, this guy is not married to the woman. No skins in the game, no kids with her, no nothing. Okay? These type of stories should make you pause, but it doesn't. We just rerun all the faster to get over here. And then you got guys making videos saying, oh, it's not true, it's not happening. Nothing is 100%. But just to hear one story like that would make me think like, let's see. What's really going on over there would make me vet the woman and take my time even more. But y'all not doing it. Young, fresh, global travel, he's coming over here. He's ready to pop the question. If he's not over here already. I wish him the best of luck. But he's caught up. Yeah, I mean, just the whole floor every night littered with that stuff. Then all of a sudden now, because she fell in love with the bicycle mechanic over here at the mall. And now all of a sudden he's become a financial genius. And he's giving her all these business plans and everything like that, right? Ah, crazy. Yeah. But see, I just said this earlier, Lee. A simp, a John, a Joe, and an Alpha are the same men. Just depends on the circumstances. Okay. He says, I give my girl 1,000 or 2,000 pesos a week. And she cleans my apartment, does my laundry, and cooks my food. And when an emergency happens, I weigh the situation. Want versus need, as I told her. I help with needs, not wants. Well, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. I made the video about, giving Marilyn the boobies money. Just like I gave the other 2 women the money for my minor sons. Simply because, number one, they've got custody of the sons. I could have, the government's going to catch you when you lie about stuff like that. It may take a couple of years, but eventually they'll catch you. I just didn't want the headache. I'm not going to see the money anyway. Go, let them have the money. It's there, it's on record. So I'm going to do the same thing with Maryland. It's going to be $48,000. Eventually, though, Booby will get it all. they'll be setting grade, whether I'm here or not. Okay? But I'm not gonna give 150,000. But if I did it, I would say, well, damn, at least she's got my daughter. This fool ain't got nothing by the woman. He said it's 1,000 times worse dating in America. I don't know, man. I've done more for women over here than I did in America. I got to keep it on me. I got to be honest. My videos are about me. I've done more for Maryland than I did for my American wife. Okay? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the bicycle mechanic. Yeah. Because I had to take my bike over to him about 2 or 3 times to get it fixed. I won't buy a bike from this local mall anymore. I mean, believe it or not, man, okay, they filled the tires up. By the time I got, they walk it to the exit, you get on your ride. By the time I got to the, man, not even 50 meters, I see where the handlebars, I'm like, these things aren't even tight. So when I go in there and he tightens that up, now they see that the back wheel, the wheels wasn't even tightened on the damn bike. He literally had to tighten every screw, every bolt on that bike. They just had the bike sitting there like it was ready for you to take it out. But it wasn't. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. You know, John was giving his girlfriend 12,000 a month. I mean, that's reasonable. Her salary before he met her was 4,000 a month. So he tripled her salary. But we've gotten to the point where we've just gone crazy. You can't justify, hey, what's up? I'm away. You just can't justify the amounts that we're giving. There's no way. No. It was a national energy emergency. No, man, they've had a couple of rollbacks for the diesel, because diesel had reached 170 pesos per liter. Guys, imagine that. Imagine being in the Philippines like that, and you're earning 400 or 500 pesos a day, and now your gasoline is 170 pesos per liter, over 100 for regular gasoline. My LPG, my gas oil that I had to buy yesterday, 1,800, normally 1,100. Okay. He says leaving on the what's that, the Philippine Airlines, 127 from JFK nonstop to Manila. Wow. At least you only got one plane. 16 hours, 40 minutes on April 24th. Well, hell, that's Friday. Right? Yeah. Mabuhay Lounge, access on deck. I'm strapped on a plane with a ring for my future wife. I can't wait to grab some panda sauce. Yeah, best of luck, man. We hope it works. Uh, I didn't personally know him. He said, hey, Cal, do you know of any expat who met a rich or well-off girl in the Philippines and got married? Okay, there was an actor over here who met a real famous actress. Okay, he was a white guy, so they gave him some little minor roles, and he ended up with the woman. They didn't get married, but they had a daughter together. Well, of course, he started fooling around, and she found out. Well, of course, he got blacklisted and deported. Okay. But the typical expat, no. The typical expat, no. Because those women aren't on the dating site. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Those women aren't, that's why I say dating site women to distinguish between the rest of the Filipino women. Okay? He said, my girl's making like $17 an hour online despite us living in Vietnam. Not balling or anything like that, but around the end of the year, she started being able to say, I want to take you to dinner. Yeah. There's women over here who certainly call center women and people over here, IT Park and places in Manila, they earn good money like that. You know, but, you know, typically, you know, that's not what's happening over here though, TJ. And I know y'all been together for a certain amount of time to get up to $17 an hour is a lot of money for a Filipino still living in Southeast Asia. Anybody living in Southeast Asia, but that's just not typical. Okay? That's all I'm saying, you know. You know it's not typical. I doubt if she was earning 17 an hour when you met her. That's all I'm saying. You know, we're not going to play that game. Oh, I'm the exception. Y'all been together and you doing the right thing. You're helping your girlfriend. You know, what any real man should do, developing her. That's what I'm saying. See, this is what we should do right here. If your woman ain't better off for being with you, then what the hell she's with you for? That's all I'm saying. He said, get off your house. No, TJ's cool. He's not like that. He's just saying that she's making 17 an hour now. But if your woman isn't blossoming under you, then you're wasting her time. You're wasting your time. You know, that's all I'm saying. But did y'all watch it? Anybody watch that little short video on, it was Business Insider. And it was talking about the lessons that old people, old lessons you can learn from old people still working in America. Hey, it was an eye-opener to me, man. I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch. Okay? He said, Corey, with It's Me, his girl Rachel, her family's very well off. And if you want to hire in Philippines, you got to go where they are. And you're on the outside if you have that kind of same money as they vet you. But it's not typical. I don't know anything about that situation. I know about that video, but we're talking about the typical, guys. Come on now. Y'all throwing this stuff out there. I don't know him, but, you know, you said her family. He said her. He said, do you any expats that's married to a Filipino that has money? That's her family's money. That's all I'm saying. The typical woman that the expat meets is not going to be like that. She's looking for a hand up. He said it's not normal to pee on anyone. Yeah, I know. He said the exceptions don't make the rule, guys. Well, actually, it just, you know, it just makes the rule correct. The typical woman that you're going to meet on that dating site, or even if you decide, okay, I'm going to take a chance and, you know, run up on one of these women on the outside, what likely she's going to have, if she's going to talk to you and everything, and give you the time of the day. More than likely, she's got a profile online somewhere anyway. But the typical woman you're going to meet is probably going to earn somewhere in between 0 and about 10,000 pesos a month. Okay. And that's why they're on uh, the dating site, because they're broke. They're looking for a helping hand, yours. They're not looking for love. There's love over here if they want it. Filipinos got plenty love, man. It's a family-oriented community. There's millions of men over here that can love them. Okay? Um, they're younger than you, look better than you, have everything in common with you. But the typical woman that you meet over here is going to be broke. Okay? So that's your part of the unspoken agreement, to take care of her. And if she got children, her children. And every now and then her family. And if you don't want to play that game, then don't come over here. And if anybody tells you they're not playing that game, they're lying. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I don't even know, how would you even know if the woman loves you anyway? Because there's a thin line between that, because the woman that you end up meeting is going to do everything for you that a woman who loves you would do. So how do you know if she really loves you or not? Everything that you think a woman who loves you should do or will do, they're going to do. So how you ever going to know if she's going to love you? Love your damn self. That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all I'm saying. What's in there? Love yourself, and you won't have to worry about that. But no, I ain't eat no booty either. I kiss the cheek when he come out of the shower and it's wiggling around like that. But no, I'm not getting anywhere close to that. The booty. The booty. Yeah, there's no way to know. You got to love yourself. And then everything else is icing on the cake. Most guys, well, I ain't going to say most, but a lot of guys who come over here, they're secure within themselves. So when they come over here, they say, okay, I know the game. This is why we talk about the game. Okay, I know that I'm not going to have, a woman half my age and everything like that, cooperative and everything like that, who doesn't have any money. I know I'm going to have to, do my part with that. They don't have a problem with it. And they know they're not going to go overboard. And every peso they spend, they're going to benefit from it. So if you're living in a nice Solanea and you got a nice car, motorcycle, you're benefiting from all of that. They know that it's best to build the life that they want and then bring the woman along with you. They don't make it all about the woman. Far too many men make it all about the woman. It's not about not having a woman over here, ISG Horn. You're going to have a woman, but you don't have to make it all about her. Some of these guys are so, I don't know what to call them. I don't know what their problem is. But I know they've got low self-esteem. You don't have to make it all about the woman, because she's not going to respect you. He says Starlink is $3,800 a month. How much is the startup, though? Yeah, I like when it wiggles around, fresh out of the shower. But I'm not coming nowhere near that other part. He said, I haven't been there in 7 years, but this new age intel is diabolical. Now, the Philippines is a whole different story, though. Okay? it's gonna take you longer in Vietnam, and then Thailand. It's just right off the bat what you're getting over there. But these regular women you're getting over here is just so the way things kick off over here is just so you're something you've never experienced before, and you're so confused because you're wondering, you know, you wake up the next morning, you got this young, attractive woman laying next to you, and you're wondering, how did it happen so fast? And she's acting like she's been knowing you for years. And then, and then all of a sudden it hits you like, okay, I'm going to pretend that we've been knowing each other for years, and that's how it starts. They don't meet strangers, man. No, they're not simps, man, because a simp, or Joe, or John, and an Albert are the same, man. It just depends on the circumstances. But to say that this stuff isn't happening over here, these guys are delusional. I mean, to push back on anything that a guy has to say about reality over here, okay, and a lot of these guys who think they got the perfect relationship, you really don't know. That's what they're putting out there in front of you. I don't care how good the woman is, she gonna get on your damn nerves. Wait till she starts smacking them damn lips at the table and all that old crazy stuff they do. It'll drive you crazy, man. I remember me and Marilyn, we were eating at a restaurant here, and a very attractive looking Filipino that worked out with Marilyn at the gym. She lives in America now. She was sitting at the next table from us. It was so bad that I couldn't. I had to get up and leave, man. That's Marilyn. She was smacking so loud. It was just so, but she was very nice looking. She's a nurse. She lives in America now. And the guy's just so in love with her. He doesn't realize that there was a weightlifting guy blowing her back out. After she had fallen in love with the weightlifting guy so much that she was getting ready to blow up her plans with this fool in America. But the smacking of her food was so crazy. And just different stuff like that. And then he said, how fast is it? Man, come on, man. You never been over here, Obi-Wan Kenobi? That's why when people, when they say, Cal, you got 3 kids over there, that's hard to do. You either got 3 by 3 different women or 3 by 1. It's going to happen, guys. That's how easy it is. That's how quick it is. What are you talking about? The very first night you meet them, man, it's part of the game. It's part of the script. It doesn't make them less than or anything like that. It's just the way it is over here. And you got to deal with it. You don't have to have regrets. But no, we were in a restaurant, man. It was so, I couldn't deal with it, man. My mother would have slapped her face. And you didn't smack at my table. Okay? Or they might pick their feet at the table. And just, it doesn't make them less than. It's just, the habits and the things that you're going to inherit when you come over here and get to dealing with women. And then you walk in there and the bloody Kotex is in the damn garbage can and all this crazy stuff that you got to, deal with and start setting boundaries, like Richie Rich says. He says, I'm laughing so hard about your story because I've been there. She's smacking and eating with her mouth wide open. I'm looking at her like she's from another planet. Man, it was so bad. I couldn't deal with it. As Merle, I went into the bathroom and I just stayed in there. And when I thought that she was finished, I came back out, man. I couldn't deal with it. I won't deal with that. And then all that hitting the plate and the spoon on the plate. The spoon and the fork on the plate while they eating, man, it drives me nuts. I can't deal with it. That's like, all this. You hear that? Where they're scraping I'm like, I gotta eat. I eat in here by myself. I always eat in here by myself. But this is the real stuff that you have to understand. I don't care how good of a woman she is, they're gonna have stuff like that, and you're gonna have stuff like that. Then they'll start burping, and then they'll start farting. You know, and you be like, you don't know me that well. Get your ass up and go into the bathroom. I go into the bath unless it's like 2 or 3, and I'm really asleep. I'm half asleep and I'm half awake. I might let a fart out. Okay. But normally I'm going into the bathroom and fart and shut the door. Okay. I'm not going to fart right in front, at the kitchen table or in the living room or anywhere where people are around me. I'm not going to do it. So you stuff you got to deal with. But they won't tell you that it's perfect. Yeah, man, that was just crazy, man. Yeah, that right there. Ah, it drives you crazy. It's scraping, that's why they use the fork and the spoon. Everything is gone. Yeah, my girl's different. Yeah. That's how you know they start getting comfortable. Don't be farting around me. No. You want to do that because you got consideration for other people, Q. You sitting there watching television and all of a sudden. See, that's why on the bus, this is what makes me mad when they crowd the bus like that. Because sometimes people ease one out, right? And if you ever been on a bus over here, the aisleways are so small. So most of the time, this is being fact, somebody's butt is going to be in your face until they get off the bus or find a seat. And every now and then, man, they'll squeeze one out, man. You be like, oh. But you do that because, you got consideration for people. He said, I never had to wake up to fart. No. I'm saying, no, if I'm asleep, and I halfway in the middle of a dream or something, I'll fart. But if I'm not awake, if we're just sitting there watching TV and I can feel it bubbling to the surface, I'm going into the bathroom, man. I'm not going to do it and then sit there and laugh. Because when you start eating over here, okay, a lot of times them farts be rotten because of their diet. And it'll be enough to break you up. You be like, if you fart like that again in my face, it's over. I don't be knowing what they be eating. It's just be rotten. Be like, go in there. He said, which is crazy to me because I always thought women had more manners than us since they clearly are feminine. Oh, man. No, I ain't eating them gross. No. Not once. No. Like I said, when you first come over here and you have your first experience with a Filipino, they're so perfect, really, because a lot of times, they're younger, obviously. Now I'm talking about my second trip, because my first trip, the woman I was with was 41. I was 45. I didn't know any better. But the second time when I came over there, because she the one told me, look, guys, I didn't know anything about what goes on over here. It was all new to me. When I came to the Philippines, I was 45, about ready to turn 46. It was April. It was about this time I was in the Philippines for 2 weeks because I went there April the 9th. So the 23rd, I left. I met a woman who's 41. I was like, I didn't know any better. I didn't know you could come over here and meet a woman half your age. She put me up on all that. Well, the next time I came back, instead of meeting her, I met a 22-year-old. She was perfect. you know, and you'll kiss the cheek, but no, I ain't going. My imagination's too vivid. I know what's coming out of there. He said I stopped eating with my Filipino family after about 2 months, eating and talking at the same time. Yeah. See, I think I'll be joking. He said you need an earmuffs and a respirator. But it's a small price to pay because they really are good people over here, man. But I knew nothing about all of that stuff. I knew nothing. You guys are way ahead of me. I just got on the plane and came over here. I ain't gonna lie. I was in a what do you call them? A chat room for about 2 days. And the guy said, man, you need to get on one of these dating sites before you go over there. And I did. And I met a woman 38. And I met a woman 41. I saw both of them. And I made the decision. I want the 41-year-old. Because the 38-year-old, I guess she had filters or whatever it was. But no, she wasn't my type. And boy, was she mad at me. And she ended up getting married, though. And she let me know it. Because I gave her $140. Just like, okay, it ain't working. Okay, and I didn't lie to her. I promise. I told her, I said, I'm going to meet somebody else. And he was so angry. But about maybe a month or two later, because evidently, like I told you, they dealing with more than one person. He ends up sending me some pictures. It was a little bit longer than that. I'm going to say 6 months later. She sent me some pictures in my email of her wedding. She was already over in England or Germany. She got married to this older man, and it was her daughter, and the man in the, I guess the limousine or whatever it was they were in. And she said, yeah, I got married. I just want to let you know. Because, boy, she was mad at me. She was mad at me. I went with the 41-year-old. The 41-year-old was a fox. But she was so vain, man. And she was married. But the husband lived downstairs. She lived upstairs. I didn't know it till the last week I'm there. I'm walking by the man every damn day, just about. And she said, yeah, that's my ex. Well, that's my husband. See, she wanted me to pay for that annulment. That's why she was with me. Because she said, she said, the reason me and my husband split up, she said, because everything I'm doing with you, he wanted me to do, but I wouldn't do. He said, my dog is brutal. When she farts, she's a big St. Bernard, and I second spurts and the smell. What's that? Oh, the fan. I claim my mother. Yeah, man. That's Merlin's brother leaving. He finally can go back home. I feel sorry for him. His girlfriend was with a foreigner. And everything. Yeah. He says, Cal, when you said you paid 20, did it include the land? It did. You gotta realize though, it's 5 years ago during the COVID. You're not it's gonna cost you about 35 or 40,000 to get the setup I got now. Maybe a little bit more. Because there's a Filipino couple that lives in America. They both nurses. And they came to they had some land down here, and they saw me walking through there. They came back and they saw me. And they said, yeah, can we talk? Can you give us the information to your engineer so that we want to build my mother a house? She was living in America with them, but she wanted to come back to the Philippines. I know they paid more because he gave me a deal. You got to realize I was the first one to let him build my house. His business was new. He's built all kind of stuff now. In those 5 years, this guy's really on the ball now. But I guess, he was telling me something like, yeah, I built your house for 19,000 or something per square meter, something real low. He said now I'd have to charge about 25,000 for that same house. Okay. Oh yeah, this one was very vain. They all are. I've never seen a Filipino that wasn't vain. But some of them are more than others. Maryland certainly is vain. This woman was vain. I guess as they get a little bit older, they get vain like that. He said, I've noticed that using a bidet toilet attachment daily reduces gas emissions by approximately 85%. The shallow enema effect removes the remnants that tend to ferment gases. Well, they use that, but hell, they need something else. He said, if the Philippines are dealt by 1,000 cuts, which it's not, guys, listen. Those guys make those videos, okay, to get clicks and views. You don't deal with this stuff every day. He said, then how do we heal those cuts enough to stay? It's got to balance out. Because you're not dealing with it every single day. If I wanted to make a video and complain about all the stuff, like I told you, I got caught at the ferry 2 weeks ago when we left to go to Cebu. I was there for 4 hours. But hell, how long does that happen? I mean, how often does that happen? Or we were on that bus. Okay, 2 weeks later, we're on the bus. It's, and they crowd people in there. You standing in the aisles. But I don't deal with that every day. Most of the days, it's just normal. I'm in St. Paul City. I don't know where they are, where they're dealing with that shit every single day and it's getting on their nerves. This is not true, man. Most of the days, I just live like I live at home. There's no problems here that I have. Every 2 months, I go to get my extension. I mean, it's just, I don't know what they're talking about, dealt by 1,000 cuts. I mean, if you just want to make a video and you want to talk about all the things that you encounter and all the things that you see, but you don't encounter that stuff every single day, 24 hours a day, guys, they're lying. Is all that stuff over here? Yeah, it's over here. But you're not going to deal with it on a daily basis. Okay? That's how people stay over here. Do you think I'm any different than anybody else? If it was that bad over here, trust me, I'm as funny and picky as anybody. I'd have been gone, but it's not a death by 1,000 cuts every single day. I mean, what are they dealing with? Okay? That's so bad by 1,000 cuts. You see guys who have been over here for decades. I mean, I'm just a simple guy, though. It don't take a whole lot to make me happy. I knew what the Philippines was. I had been coming back and forth for 9 years before I settled here. I already knew what was waiting for me over here. I think people get burned out. Gio made that video the first time, and then here comes everybody else making them. He was over here for 9 years. Maybe he just was, you remember there's a 7-year itch, they say. But they really say it's a 4-year itch. And I think that's all it is. But you don't deal with that stuff every day. He said, I don't be on Filipino buses like that, but that'll keep me off. Yeah. I've gotten used to that, but if you're on those buses now, see, during COVID and right after COVID, they stopped packing them like that. But now, I mean, that was nothing. It got to the point, one time I was going to see my son. I mean, it was so crowded in there, you couldn't move. I'm talking about, I'm in the seat, the window seat. I couldn't move. It was time for me to get out, man. It took me 10, 15 minutes to get off the bus. People had to get off, and people had to go forward back to let me get out of the bus. I mean, I don't know how they get paid. Do they get paid by passenger or something, commission? I don't know. But I've gotten so used to that kind of stuff, it don't bother me. He said, hey, Cal, I need some advice. I traveled to the Philippines and met a girl and dated for a couple of months. When things got serious, we got tested, and she came back with the herpes. Super common, apparently, but yeah, that's a decision you got to make. Where did she get it from? So that means you've got it now. Is that right? I don't know about. See, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's common. I know that it ain't gonna kill you. Is it? What do they have different um, levels of herpes or something? But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Why didn't you have her tested before? This is what I'm saying. People get caught up. Why didn't you test her before? But when you make a video like that, they'll say, oh, hey, what are you doing? It's not like that for real. Yeah, you get caught up over here. We come over here and we jump in bed with the women because there's no rubbers and there's no contraceptives or anything like that. See, so now you're in the situation, okay, do I keep going or not? I'd go to the doctor. I talk to the doctor. He says, my 50-year-old girlfriend watches the silliest memes and zero entertainment videos for having sex if I allowed her. Good to see you in the company. Yeah, they laugh at totally different. They don't laugh at the same jokes we laugh at. Really, Filipinos, if you think about it, man, they really like that kind of stuff. Some of their biggest YouTubers over here, they don't talk about subjects like we talk. They make skits and it's all jokes and fun and games and laughing. I guess it's a distraction or whatever. That's what they get into. That's why it's when you see these Filipino vloggers talking to us, man, they're the exception. Filipinos just don't make vlogs like that. That's why they can't watch vlogs like mine. It's boring to them. They want funny stuff. He said you gotta do a self-exam. If you see bumps all around, abort the mission. Well, it's too late. He said it won't kill him, but there's no cure for it. He better go get checked. He says he gets checked monthly now, but it's too late. Excuse me. He said one of the things I know is the Philippines will subscribe to every single channel you subscribe to. It's hard to have privacy and just have guys talk. You got to keep your subscribers page private. Well, I know they'll do that on Facebook. And I know a lot of women know me here from their boyfriend. He'll be watching me and they'll be somewhere in the background. He thinks they're not watching, but they are. Because when I meet them, they'll say, yeah, either he's still in America or they together. She'll come up to me and say, yeah, he watches your videos all the time, meaning we watch them all the time. Oh, wow, this is crazy. Yeah, more than likely he did. More than likely he did. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. Now, it's a new time now. A lot of these guys, they're keeping up. They're trying to compete with foreigners. So, they're licking the pot and everything too, see. But most women over here, they probably never had oral sex before. They've never had an orgasm before because it's conservative here, man. Let's just be real about it. It's more or less the missionary position. That's it. He gets off and that's over with. Yeah, she feels it's her obligation to please him. So then when foreigners come over here, they take it to a whole different level. You know, they take it to a whole different level. Like I said, you got some guys, they be like, well, why you want to lick my booty for? You know, because it's just, they don't even think about stuff like that. Well, there's no tell. I mean, it's not going to make a big difference to know what happened. He says, I wonder what happened to Mike Philippine's retirement relationship and why it ended. Well, the same reason a lot of these relationships end over here. But I mean, I don't even want to know. I mean, he was, people had already been talking about it. He was denying it. I guess he was going to talk about it when he wants to talk about it, which is his right. But I don't really care. I mean, remember, guys, we went on a day-to-day basis. If you went in today, be happy. Because tomorrow it might all blow up on you. And if you get to know these women enough, you can see stuff long before it happens. But you just come over and fall in love and, think, oh, I got the perfect relationship. And you find out you don't. Find out you don't. If your woman got kids, you better find out, first of all, who is the father? I don't want show me him on Facebook somewhere. I need to see him. What's your relationship with him now and all this stuff? We don't do all this stuff. But, imagine, though, if you're another foreigner, why would you want a woman that Mike already had, that was married with Mike? Okay, if you want to get divorced, if you want to be single, then you go back and deal with the local men. I don't want you. And a lot of times that's what goes on. Everything is good until it's not. But I don't want to know what happened. I mean, if he wants us to know, he'll tell us. But a lot of it's a lot of limp dick men over here. I'm not saying that's what happened to him. Like I said, a lot of times the women looks up from the table and sees your ugly ass, fat ass, old ass, cheap ass, and says, what in the world have I done? Or some other man comes sniffing around and she falls for that. Maybe he's got more money. Maybe he looks better. I don't know. But a lot of times it's a peculiar mental twist. I'm pretty sure Mike helped her. A lot of times they forget what you done for them and how bad they had it before they met you. We call that the peculiar mental twist in recovery. You forgot how you came into detox, how life was for you before you came into the program. Now you 2, 3, 4 months sober. You got your weight back. You start looking good. You got your job back, your family back. Now you forgot. So you stopped doing the things that got you that far. And you relapse. Well, it's the same thing over here. Peculiar just means strange. Human beings, we've got that. We'll forget what her life was like 2 years ago when she was barely making it, And now all of a sudden, she's living in a nice place. You didn't have to get a channel started. She might have on a new motorcycle. The kids is going to good schools. And then some other man is watching the channel. Maybe he got in her lip, in her ear. I don't know. I don't care. But it's not like I'm surprised. I'm surprised when the relationships work, when they stay together. Not when they break up. You should be surprised when they stay together. And you got to realize a lot of these relationships, they're not that old, man. These guys have been with these women for as long as they've been on YouTube. Okay, so me and Merlin, we getting ready to celebrate 7 years. That's not a long time, man. He said, hey, Cal, you started yelling at Q yet? Now, Q, I know Q now. A lot of times I read his answer slowly now. He said the local men, I don't know. But I'm just saying, do you understand why I say, why would you want to be with a Filipino? There's plenty of women over here who've never been with a foreigner before. Why would you want a woman who's already been with somebody? And then you watching them together. See, that's a special kind of low down and ornery. You sitting there watching them together on the videos and stuff. You know they together. And now that they break up and then you go and jump and be with her. I don't care what they look like. It's just the, like Gio's wife. Men are just slobbering over her to want her. Why would you want her? You know Gio was blowing her back out. Gio ain't stupid. He's been around the block a few times. Why would you want her? But we don't have no standards, man. Men don't have no standards. Does it still open up? Oh yeah, they love a Vino lotion. He says, Randall, I put my girl up on a Vino body lotion and she's hooked. Because that's like a status thing over here. It's too expensive. I won't buy it here. I bought back like 8 bottles when I came back from America because it's cheap over there. Hell, you get the little bottle. It's 1,300 pesos. Yeah, right. He said, now I'm stuck packing a Vino in my suitcase because you can't get this on sale. That's right. It's expensive. He said, men are so thirsty, but that should be off limits. It's like disrespect going after another man's girl. I just wouldn't want it, man. I mean, it's just too many women over here who've never been. I want the new experience. They want the same thing, too. They really don't want you they would prefer a man who's never been with a Filipino before. They would prefer that. They're just like us, man. We're humans. Man, I don't know what disconnects us from the human race, but we're all connected. Okay, we're all human beings and everything like that. But anyway, why would you want that? I wouldn't. Yeah, they got Jergens over there, but hell, Jergens is nothing. But I mean, Gio's not stupid. Gio's been here. He knows what's going on. It's a lot of women that he's had over here. Something, I believe he walked away from that. There's no way she did. I mean, they might have come to an agreement. But if I had my money on it, I would say he walked away. I can't listen to her talk for 3 minutes. I mean, it's just the way she tries to talk. I mean, that would drive me crazy right there. I'd rather you speak in Messiah. But yeah, Jergens is over here, but Jergens is... I can use anything, really. But you get used to... Now, I'll buy the... What's it called? Palmer's. It's not as expensive as a Vino. A lot of times you'll see that in Watson. It's like 395 pesos, which is a lot, Not now because the dollar's so strong. It's about $6. But it used to be, when the peso was like in the 40s, you're talking about $8 or $9 for that. Yeah, we all need sunscreen over here. Well, I mean, I wouldn't believe it. I don't believe anything online. Certainly in these YouTube grapevines and stuff. I don't believe none of that stuff. If you don't hear it from them, and it's their business, I don't care. I told y'all how my relationship Broke up because it was no big deal to me. And I'm going to tell my story. I don't want people, like you said, you heard he called her. I don't want nobody putting that information out there. Like, that's what you tell them. I brought my wife back to the Philippines. That's why we broke up. She didn't want to. She didn't want to live here, man. She didn't tell me that, but it was obviously she didn't. After 6 months, um, she had to get out of here, man, and she thought I was going back with her, and I wasn't. And he said, "Hey, do you think that whitening soap and lotions affect complexion?" Well, evidently they don't. But the masses, that's all they can afford. They're using that glutathione drip now. If you can afford it, they getting the drip. But you become white, scary white. And, it's just something that, remember, Madam C.J. Walker became rich selling that stuff to black people. And we still wearing perms and weaves and all that stuff. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for your super chat, super stickers, all your thumbs up, all your support for Sunshine Shoulders. I got to get off of here, man. I ran a little bit long because I just got back. But at some point, man, you got to stop working, man. You're never going to have enough money. I refuse to die on the job because people, trust me, guys, you think people really appreciate you at your job. They don't, man. They don't. They're going to replace you. Okay? But back to your question, Mr. Rational, what you mostly see over here when they use that cheap soaps, the elbows still be beige, the knees will still be beige, around here it's still beige. They look retarded. Okay? You really don't, but they use it anyway. Or the face is just white, the neck and everything, only this part, and you see it. It's clear as day. Okay? From here on back, on down, their arms and everything else is the color they're supposed to be, which is a beautiful color. But I guess, over here, competition is so strong, man, that you got to use every advantage that you can come up with. And a lot of times it's fair skin. They'll put it in the damn... man, if you ever read a job description over here, it would be illegal in America. You couldn't say the stuff that you say. Not only is it's age discrimination, they say 18 to 30, fair complexion, pleasing personality. It's cringy. So that's what they want, But a lot of times, man, what you'll find out now is when you come over here and you'll see a beautiful brown-skinned woman over here, a lot of times those are the ones who are single and they've never, had a lot of attention and stuff, only from foreigners, because they're too brown for the locals over here. Okay? Those are the ones, man. Now, Maryland don't do it. Maryland don't do it. Now, when I first met her, a lot of them, they have that soap. And you tell them, look, I don't want that soap. You just start buying Dove. I don't like that stuff. But if you really want, look at the women. Look at John's girl that he had. When they got that type of complexion like that, those are really the ones you want. Okay, you can guarantee her body count's low, or she may have never had a boyfriend before. Hey, thanks, Clyde. I appreciate you, brother. But take care, y'all. I gotta get off here. I know lunch is done, and we're going back to be our first day back in the gym today. I gotta take it slow, man. Like I told the guy earlier, because Maryland's gonna try to overdo it. I gotta stop her because she'll hurt herself. Y'all take care, man. Look for the meet and greet. It's coming up, man. I get it together.